Day 4. Welcome back. Let's see. So it's been 3 days since the last time I recorded. I just need to find a way where like at nighttime all of this is set up so I'm not like, fuck, do I want to set it up? But let's see. I have a lot of interesting things to talk about now. So one thing I noticed was I was having a really stressful week. It's Sunday now, but this whole week I had a really stressful week, and I think I finally figured out what it was. So for the longest time before moving back to the Bay Area, I was like in this state where I was constantly reading philosophy, talking philosophy, thinking philosophy, learning new philosophy, and it was, philosophical thought was consistently part of my day-to-day routine. But after moving back here, the people I surround myself with, as well as, my parents and everyone else here, like, philosophical thought is not a part of their life. Understanding why we're alive. What is the purpose of life? What happens when we die? Is there God? These are not things that they're thinking about at all. In fact, not only are they not thinking about it, they're not down to talk about it, right? And that's the more pressing issue. It's not that I don't really think about it, but if it's brought up, I don't mind talking about it. It's more like, oh, that's a waste of time. Why are you wasting your time thinking about that? So when I'm back here, I'm like thinking more like, more like worldly things, like more like, in this instant things. For example, how do I, what's the newest, latest technology thing to know? What is Facebook doing? What is Google? It's more like, super knowledge about the day to day. So I realized that part of my peace comes in unrest that comes from thinking about philosophy, right? Peace to me looks like having philosophical conversations and knowing that there's no answers and being okay with that. And that to me was why when I was living with Mylan and stuff, I was peaceful, because I came to terms with the fact that there may be no purpose, but it was fun talking about the purposelessness of things, It feels like that's the only conversation that really has purpose, really diving into the purposelessness of life. And so I was like, all right, I want to dive back into philosophy. So I've been reading, not even reading, I've been watching movies. And I've watched 2 movies and I've watched 1 documentary. I'm watching all 3 philosophical. And so that's what I want to go into today. So the first one I watched was this movie called A Serious Man. And it's about this. Honestly, the thing about movies, it's like most of the times, especially with good movies, I don't even really know what the themes and things are in the movies. Like, I feel like I haven't gone to that place. It's with books, like when I was in middle school and high school reading books, I didn't really know what the themes were. I was kind of like a noob reading it. But now when I read, I can discern those things better. But like same with movies, like I'm a noob right now, but I feel like slowly I'm getting a better hang of like understanding and grasping the themes that are underlying the director's choices. So this movie was about this Jewish family, and it basically talks about okay, so let me just go over the main interesting questions I got from it. One of it was, so the basic theme of the movie had to do with kind of the randomness of life, right? How there's no like real clear meaning behind any, like cause that happens to a lot of things, especially when it comes to suffering. People oftentimes ask, what the fuck? Like, why did I just lose this person? Why does this happen to me? Which is an amazing question to ask. And especially for people who believe in God, it's like, okay, I did all these things. God, why did you punish me? And the movie brings up a good point. And it talks about a human should not only be punished for their actions, but they should also be punished for their inactions. And I thought that was very interesting, because the main character goes throughout the entire movie going, what did I do? What did I do? Why did I do wrong? But it seems like they were pointing at the thing that it's not just what you do, but for every action you do, think about the other thousands of actions you don't do. And that actually ties in with a point from that the documentary I was watching, which was talking about morality being in every purchase you make. So for every purchase I make, it's the morality is not in the fact of the thing that I bought. So let's say I buy $1,000 organic milk or something. I don't know, something that quote unquote is good. Even if the product itself is good, the morality comes in the option of I chose to spend $1,000 on this item. Could I have done something better with that $1,000? Then every purchase I make becomes a question of morality. I buy $1 million house. Could I have helped 1,000 kids with their lives? Sustain life? Or should I live in this $1 million house? And then everything is like, so every decision now isn't just about the action. It's about, what are you not committing by doing that? Is that an injustice? And I thought that was really interesting. I like that. It really makes you think about your actions, not only in the action itself, but in the time that you're doing the action. What are you missing out on? Opportunity cost, I guess. And I thought that, I don't think about that at all. I only think about the action. I don't think about the, interesting though. So that was one thing that came out of the movie. The other thing was, I love the questions where they're like, let's suppose God exists, and then 100 other questions. I love those. So this was one of them. It was like, let's suppose God exists. What if God's not perfect? Like, what if God makes mistakes? Like, why can't we judge God? What if this simulation that we live in is just about humans judging God? Like, okay, God, let's say you do make everything happen. You made COVID happen. Like, you suck as a God. We need a better God. Like what if we had a democracy with God or something? And that was one of the things. It was like why can't we turn the lens around and be like, God, if you're the one making all this happen, no, you're sucking at your job. And I thought that was interesting. But yeah, man, I haven't thought about philosophy forever. Like, it's been so long, and I'm so happy to be back in the realm of just intellectual thoughts. Philosophy makes me peaceful, and honestly, I can say that with certainty now. Life is just a bunch of bullshit, man. Fuck everything else. Fuck everything. Literally fuck everything. None of this shit matters. I'm gonna fucking die. None of this matters. I'm going to be decomposing one day. Oh my God, I'm going to literally be dead one day. None of this will have mattered at that point. And it's fuck it. Literally fuck it. Fuck all this bullshit. But yeah, so watch that. Second philosophical movie I watched was Socrates. Socrates. Soak the socks, man. Great movie. It was a 1970s movie. Spanish director. It was all filmed in Spanish. Amazing movie. Amazing. One, I felt like I was back in the time when Socrates were around. But that movie brought up a lot of questions. Jeez, it hit the spot. One thing, so this man basically was kind of just exiled for, quote unquote, corrupting the youth, educating the youth, right? And so he had the option many times to evade death. But yet he drank the hemlock and he said, I'm not afraid of death. He viewed, his entire thing was he wanted to understand the truth of the world. And he really believed that the only way to get that was through death. That there was only things that you could understand about life once you were dead. So he didn't look at death as something to be evaded or something to be scared of. He went and took that shit by its balls. And it's damn, that movie just brought up a lot of wow, we run away from death so much that oftentimes we miss living because of that. It's kind of paradoxical in that. It's but so that really just motivated me. Not even motivated me, it just made me think this man was really about it. He literally could have lived and did fuck it, for my principles. So he talks a lot about living for your virtues. Don't live for beauty, or don't live for virtue signaling. Don't live for all this other X, Y, and Z. Live for your virtues. So pick virtues and die by them and live for them. And I was damn, going back to a couple of days ago, and I was talking about moderation and stuff, Socrates would have looked at me and been you're a bitch. You're literally a bitch. Have virtues. You don't drink, that's your virtue. Stick by it. Don't go half, all that. I like that. He was about it. Honestly, that man was about it. And I really like the way they depicted how he asked questions. And so one thing I did like is when I ask questions to people, I feel I don't do a good job of creating circumstances, creating my own thought experiments and then asking them to then show how their views are contradictory by using my example. It's hard to, so Socrates didn't only use their example to show their own contradiction, he used a different example. I think I don't do that at all. So I need to start doing that, like be like, okay, so in this example, let's say we take these two people, what would you say then? Blah blah blah. What would you say here? Okay, therefore see, there's a contradiction in your statements. Now look at your own. So I liked how he did that. Okay, and then so those were the movies, and the other one was I was watching was this beautiful, it's called the Examined Life, and they're just walking through New York taking videos of philosophers. I have a lot more to get back on that. This is why I need to do this more often, because I feel like I have so much, and so much has passed that like there's still a lot, some days there's just a lot to like update you on. But yeah, I'll keep this at that. Went to Mama's house a couple times. I went to Didi's house, I ran my first 5K. That was a big deal for me. I've been doing better. I just been grinding. I have a meeting with this Stanford professor tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, this has also been really therapeutic, so I'm glad I started doing this. But I think I have a better understanding of like what I need in my life that was missing before, and it really is philosophy. And philosophy. I'm gonna keep saying that word because it's just like, it's liberating just saying that word, because I feel like there's so many connotations that come with the word that I've been trying to use it less and less, but now I'm like literally just like fuck them, like I'm gonna say that word as much as I want. Philosophy, motherfucker. But yeah, I gotta fix this code. It's not working to re-click the button for some reason, so I gotta figure that out. But yeah, apart from that, good looks. See you around next time.